Good evening and welcome back. Right, we've not caught up with things, so I'm going to catch up with things first of all. Tonight I'm going to be doing a catch up on The Mandalorian on television and what I think about it. And I'll give you a couple of bit news things at the front and the back of it. So the first front one is it's Matt Hancock again. Matt Hancock, right? Okay, this is going to be all over the news. I'm sure it is, and it's just going to get worse for him. It's not going to get any better, right? Apparently, according to what we can understand, a little docu-soap's coming out about it, where they sent out invitations to 20 MPs. To see if they could basically bribe them or tempt them with money to come and work for a dodgy company. And they didn't get replies from many, but they did get 5 replies, and one of them happened to be Matt Hancock. Well, from what I can gather, he will work for you for £10,000 a day. I'll work for you. I'll do 2 days for that money. Right, yeah, okay. And then another one, Kwasi Kwarteng, again, roughly the same amount. I'm thinking, wow. So they want £10,000 a day. So 2 days is equivalent to what I was working for a whole year in my wages. Right, okay, so that says a lot, really. So basically, they've been caught out again. And like I said from the beginning of this, Boris is in trouble as well. So I think he's finished and all while at it. So all over, it's all falling apart. They're all worried because the May elections are coming out, so they're trying to get as much money from somewhere else because they're all going to be unemployed. So how do you explain that to the actual guy behind the counter? So, and how much money will you be looking for? £10,000 a day, please. Yeah, well, we've got some warehouse jobs just down the road. No, £10,000, I'll do it for a day. Yeah, right, okay, so that's what it shows. Utter contempt for the working man, for the people who are paying your wage. Afraid you're going to be unemployed, make the most of your money you've got because nobody really was interested in you, and at that point, nobody's going to be really looking to employ you because it'll be bad business for themselves. Right, moving on. Okay, I have to go into this. As those who follow me know, I am a Star Wars fan. The Mandalorian, right. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched it. What I will say is, if you haven't watched it, you've got to watch it. It's amazing. Right. I'm absolutely loving the new series, the 3rd series. There was one dodgy episode where probably some people say they like it and some people would say they don't like it. It's like a background story. I'm not keen on that. I want to watch The Mandalorian, not some other bloke's story. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say. I like The Mandalorian when it's about him, and it left it on such a big up from 2 weeks ago, and I was like, wow, what's going to happen next? And then all of a sudden, episode 3 comes along, and there's just this weird story in the middle. It might come into play later on, but I'm not really interested. It's The Mandalorian I want to see. It's Mango. Right. Anyway, so there we go. If you haven't watched it, I'm not going to force anyone to watch it. You know, some people like Star Trek, some people like Star Wars. I mean, I've seen the new Star Trek series with Captain Pike. Again, absolutely amazing. They really are coming. These are better than films. They are better than going to the cinema sometimes. So, anyway, moving onwards and upwards, we've got another, I think, 4 more episodes of The Mandalorian for this series. I'm hoping they're going to start really pulling out the bag, loads and loads of big stuff to come. And if they keep at this rate, well, let's have a Mandalorian film. Why not? So I think most fans would be all that. Yeah, mango. Right. Yeah, let's have a Mandalorian film. So, right. I'm not on long today because people have been saying it's a bit long, so it's only 5 minutes. Right. I'm just going to switch back quickly to the news. I will say that an hour ago, this is 26th, I think, today, an hour ago in Paris, the riots are still going on. However, they've been hit by hailstones, massive great hailstones. You know these freak storms we get? They've had one of those. And also, a very strange thing people have asked me about this telephone alert on the 23rd. And then someone was saying they'd heard about half of one of the Canary Islands slipping off into the sea and a flood coming up here. Okay, right. I don't know where that's come from. Maybe I missed some update or something about it. I am aware of that. I did see a programme about that. And yes, there is a chance. But they don't know when it'll happen. That's what I'm saying. There's no timescale on this. That the end of the island, I'm not sure which one of the islands it is, can tip off and it'll slide. I think it's Tenerife. Half of it will slide into the sea at some point because it's like being worn away underground by the sea erosion. And when it does that, it will send a tidal wave. Yes, it will send a tidal wave. And 6 hours later, they reckon it'll probably hit the UK. Yeah, okay. But then I could say we could have a massive earthquake. It comes out of nowhere. These things happen. They're natural disasters. We have no control over them. So from that side, why worry about something that's going to happen but you don't know when? So to be quite honest, you are safer walking across the road than that actually happening at present, due to the fact that there's quite a few bits of traffic on the road. So there you go. We have no control over nature. Nature is what it should be, natural. So if you muck about with nature, then you're going to get bitten. It's like you go and stick your finger in a beehive. I'll tell you what, you'll get stung. So, but that's what you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be sticking your finger in a beehive. So that actually teaches you a lesson. So don't do it. So if your fingers are tools for doing things with. Don't stick your fingers where they're not welcome. You will not be impressed with the answer. So there you go. Right. Moving on. So that's the telephone dealt with. Most people are switching them off, to be quite honest, because we're just absolutely fed up of listening to the government. Right. Speaking of government, in Paris, going back to Paris, the French Premier is absolutely cacking himself at this point. He was voted in not so long back. But then they've had this revolution again. And this time, from what I can gather, a lot of the police and fire brigade decided they weren't going to beat the protesters up, but they were going to join them. Right. Now, that's when the governments get worried. That's when toilet roll becomes very scarce in parliaments. Right. When it happens, a government has no power left if it loses the willingness of the police. But the police are correct. If a government goes against its population, then by rights the police will join the population and depose that government. I think that's probably what's happening, and it's probably what is going to happen. I don't think he's going to be there in a couple of weeks. Now, his only get out, I must admit, the only get out I could possibly see is if he turns around and says, okay, I did wrong, holds his hands up and says, hello, I'm terribly sorry, I will repeal that law, in my best terrible accent. Yeah, if he goes back on his word and just cancels that law, then he'll probably get away with it. I do think he'll probably get away with it. If not, if he carries on, no, I think he'll be gone. So if he goes, then that is a bad news in one sense. And you're thinking, wow, Mick saying it's bad news. Why is that? Well, in France, Marine Le Pen, I can't remember if the right wing, left wing, the bad party, the bad party, although a lot of people would say the good party, in the last election, Macron lost to Marine Le Pen by a very slim minority. So I think it's right wing. So that would if he loses his power, that could possibly force them to re-elect another premier. Now, if it goes to a re-election, there's a good chance that Marine Le Pen, I like saying the name, very, could become the premier. In which case, I think she'll be all right with Great Britain and probably do better deals with us, to be quite honest. But that would be the second of nation to go fascists, really, because you've already got Italy gone that way, and so do we have a resurgence of this? A resurgence of fascist governments? Maybe. So who's to say? Not every fascist government has been absolutely terrible. Just majority of them. So you've got to have a good one sooner or later. So there we go. You know, I mean, you've got to think that all democracy actually comes from Italy. They started it all off. So maybe they're onto something. I don't know. You know, I mean, they did well with Mussolini until he decided he was going to chuck his lot in, and he decided he was going to try to rebuild the Roman Empire again. That didn't go down very well for him. So, but that was history. Remember the history. You've got to look at the history of things, and then you learn from those. So, and they're going, Mick's on his rant again. Yeah, well, I did. I thought I'd throw that in. A bit of a mixed bag there. So, if you're not watching The Mandalorian, please go and watch it. Yeah, it's fantastic fun. Yeah, and it's good to watch programs that are fun, that aren't heavy and not stressful, right? And on that note, I'm going to say TTFN. I'll catch everyone later. Remember, tell your friends if you want a bit of a chuckle at some lunatic chattering away. Push subscribe. We'll catch you all soon. Ta-ta.